Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a lightning damage focused Eldritch Knight Fighter in Baldur's Gate 3. There's actually 3 sets of gear that work well with here. There's a lightning set, a lightning charges set, and then the elemental set. So we'll be breaking down the best pieces of gear, and there's actually a hammer in this game that's meant for the Eldritch Knight. So that's one weapon I definitely like to use because whenever you bind it as your Eldritch Knight weapon, it gets additional benefits. Now, as far as our fighting style goes, I just like to take the defense one for this particular build. If you wanted to use a great weapon, or like a great sword, you can take great weapon fighting, but I think that this setup works best. We'll then be going with a stat spread of something like this, and we're going to go higher in our strength score. However, if you really want to maximize your overall damage, it'd be best for you to actually dump your strength and put those points into your dexterity for the initiative bonuses, and then we can drink a strength potion and get the highest possible strength. That's the best for things like Tavern Brawler, and in that case, we can go with a stat spread of this using a strength potion and then Tavern Brawler to boost up our constitution. But you can use a previous stat spread if you want. Now at level 2 we get action surge, and level 3 is when we get to take our subclass with the Eldritch Knight Fighter here. And this does give us access to Booming Blade. It's not thunder, or it's not lightning damage, but it's thunder, so that's great. And we'll take Shocking Grasp just for the thematic purposes. We can also take Witch Bolt, but there's no really reason to take this spell. So I actually think the best choice is Magic Missile, because we can actually get lightning charges to add lightning damage to our Magic Missiles, and Shield just for the extra survivability. Now, we could go with a buff like the Long Strider here, and I guess Chromatic Orb lets us use a Lightning Orb, which is kind of not the best option. I think that the Find Familiar and the Raven in particular to be able to blind enemies is the best choice. Now, level 4, we get to take another spell here. Thunder Wave is much better than Witch Bolt, even though it's lightning damage. We'll go with the Alert feat for the +5 to initiative, or I really like the Dual Wielder feat, as this lets us use a couple weapons at a time and get a +1 bonus to armor class. And there's a few really good weapons we can dual wield here. There's a few sparky items that you can get at the very start of the game, and those work well on this build. But at level 5, we get our extra attack. You already know how nice that is for power spike purposes. Level 6 gives us our second feat here, and at this point I'd recommend taking either the Alert for the +5 to initiative, or if you like throwing your weapon because it'll always return to us, Tavern Brawler, because then we take our strength potion, add our strength modifier twice to the damage and attack rolls. So with strength potion, it's 16 extra to the damage and attack, meaning you're not missing. Level 7 gives us a really nice ability, War Magic. This has been reworked with patch 8, because now if you do your first attack as Booming Blade, this triggers this, which gives you a bonus action attack. So you can do 4 attacks with your action and bonus action. That is crazy. And we also get access to some higher level spells here. Now, Scorching Ray kind of fits perfectly here. As with specific gear, we can actually add a bunch of charges to our extra lightning damage to these. So this is a good choice. Shatter is a thunder spell, kind of fits. But also Gust of Wind works nice here too, because you can push enemies off of ledges, and it's kind of a stormy-like spell, so we'll take that. Into level 8 here, we get to an expanded spell, which gives us access to some really good stuff. Hold Person being one of my favorite spells here, because this can give you critical hits, and with our Eldritch Strike that we get in a couple levels, we can give the enemy disadvantage on their saving throw to get hit with that. We also got access to Misty Step, which is really nice. Shadow Blade, which is powerful, but doesn't fit thematically on this build here. And Darkness is nice too if you want to take any type of items that'll give you the ability to see in it. Mirror Image, also a great effect, but I'm going to go with the Hold Person here. And for our feat at level 8 here, you can go with the Sentinel or Savage Attacker. Those are nice for re-rolling damage die or attacking with your reaction. But the fighter wants to go first, so this +5 bonus to initiative is massive. This should make sure that we do go first in every single fight. Indomitable at level 9 lets us re-roll our damage, or re-roll our saving throws, which can sometimes really save us. Now, at level 10, we get the Eldritch Strike. As mentioned, the target gets disadvantage on the next saving throw if we attack it with a weapon, and it lasts until the end of our next turn. So this is really effective. We also then can take another spell here. I guess at this point, Bone Chill works to stop targets from receiving healing. Actually, no, we'll go with the Mage Hand, because it can throw water bottles to set up our lightning damage a little bit better. And then we'll take, I guess, either Darkness or Shatter there, your personal preference between the two of them. Don't take Darkness if you're not going to use a Darkness item. Level 11, improved extra attack. Obviously, a huge power spike again. The Eldritch Knight Fighter is really good because that's now 4 attacks per action plus bonus action. We also then can take one more spell here. There's nothing really here that we really care about. We'll take Chromatic Orb just for the thematic, and I guess Witch Bolt too for thematic purposes. And then for our final feat, we can go with either an ability score improvement, our Constitution or Dexterity, or our Intelligence. The Lucky feat for the extra 3 luck points, which is super useful. Savage Attacker to reroll damage die. Sentinel is my personal preference. Warcaster can give you a reaction Shocking Grasp, but Sentinel is a little bit better because then you just attack with your weapon. And the Tough feat for an extra 24 health is also quite nice, but we're going with the Sentinel feat. And there's a lot of really good lightning gear in the game, but some of it doesn't fit well on here. Now, the Jolt Shooter is really nice because whenever we deal damage with this weapon, we get 2 lightning charges, which we can use arrow for many targets to get multiple of these. And I should have mentioned the Charge-Bound Warhammer is really one of the best weapons here, because when we use this as our bound Eldritch weapon, it gets an additional 1d6 of lightning damage and a +1 to saving attack rolls and damage rolls, which is funny because it also gives another +1. It actually stacks twice because this weapon already has the enhancement. Now in the offhand, we got Marka Heshker here because we can then take the Kreska's Favor, which will give us lightning charges even furthermore, and also chain lightning, so it actually fits very well on here. So all of our weapons are lightning themed. However, there's a couple other ones here that work well too. Delay the Creation, although you do have to use either the Helm of Baldur or the Automaton gloves to be able to prevent yourself from getting stunned, because it says it has a chance to stun the wielder unless it's a construct, and the gloves make you a construct. You can't be stunned with Baldur's Giant Slayer's helmet, or Baldur's helmet. There's also the Lightning Jabber here, which does additional lightning damage, and when you throw it, it does an additional 1d4 of lightning damage, so that's good too. But we're going to roll with the Charge-Bound Warhammer. I just think it works a little bit better, and then always remember to make it your packed weapon so that you get that additional lightning damage off on your attacks there. And a little trick, pull out your bow as well, so the Jolt Shooter there, and take someone with the Drake Throat Glaive. They got the Elemental Draconic Weapon, or Draconic Elemental Weapon here, and you can go with the lightning version of that. And since we last pulled out our bow now does lightning damage, so that's a 1d4 of extra lightning damage on our attacks. And what's great about that is we can use Arrow of Many Targets to hit multiple targets. Now, we also got the Gloves of the Belligerent Skies here. Belligerent Skies. This gives us reverberation whenever we deal thunder, lightning, or radiant damage on the enemy. I got the Evasive Shoes, but there's another mix-up of items I'll use here in a second. We also got the Armor of Persistence here, which will reduce the incoming damage, give you resistance, and Blade Ward. It's really good for tankiness. Armor of Agility otherwise. Now, the Thunderskin Cloak actually works really well here, so when a creature with a reverberation deals enemy to the wearer, they must do a Constitution saving throw or become dazed. Dazed means that we have an easier time landing our hold person, which is amazing. I also like to have the Helmet of Arcane Acuity here. This can give us a +10 to our spell save DC if we do weapon attacks. You don't have to use that, but it is a really nice weapon or item to use. You could also go with the Scabby Pugilist Circlet, the Steel Watcher Helmet if you want to be able to see in magical darkness. There's also the Helm of Baldur in there, as I mentioned, which is a good choice too. And you go with any of those. I like the Helmet of Arcane Acuity. And we have the Ring of Elemental Infusion. If you're not in honor mode, this will actually allow Booming Blade to add an additional 1d4 of light or thunder damage onto your attacks. And also the Band of Mystic Scoundrels, so we can do a bonus action hold person. If you have someone else on your team using that, I'd recommend grabbing the Callous Glow Ring, which will give you additional 2 points of radiant damage. And then we can swap our gloves around and then use the Luminous Gloves to apply reverberation or radiating orbs on the enemies. 2 stacks of those gives -2 to the attack rolls. And then we can swap out our boots, because that's a condition, to then use the Boots of Stormy Clamor to apply reverberation. So we get 2 extra points of damage, -2 to the enemy attack rolls, and then we still apply the reverberation, which will then proc the Thunderskin Cloak. So this actually works together very well. And lightning is kind of yellowish radiant damage. You can think of it as lightning damage. And don't forget to use Kreska's Favor here on the Bolts of Doom. This gives us the chain lightning. And then also we deal additional damage equal to our proficiency bonus with lightning damage. And whenever we deal spell damage, we get a lightning charge here, which is nice. So I'm not going to mention the weapons look really cool with the Kreska's lightning crackling on them. And I forgot to remove a difficulty mod, so all these enemies here have a bunch of buffs that are randomly applied. But our first order of business is getting our Arcane Acuity stacked up. Now, our Arrow of Many Targets is actually a really good option. That's why I like rolling into Dex, because then we can attack with this. We'll spread our debuffs around, and a free critical hit on every single enemy there. You see extra lightning damage, and it applied Radiating Orb, so they all have a -2 to their attack roll. This target has a -4 to their attack rolls, so they're much less likely to land those shots. I'd recommend doing this a couple times here, just to be able to get our Arcane Acuity stacks up to max here. I was able to take out 1 target there, and now we have a plus, I guess our spell save DC doesn't say it there, but it says +12 from Arcane Acuity, should be a +10. We're going to use our bonus action here to go and attack this target. They all have extra health too from this difficulty mod. Using Booming Blade can give you a little extra thunder damage there, which is always nice. And now that we have our spell save DC up pretty high, what we can do is launch a Chain Lightning, because we're much more likely to land this now. Always go for the target that you want to remove the most. This target here I do not want, because they have command and hold person, so I'm going to just delete them with that. And spread around to multiple targets there. It wasn't enough to take out the others there, but it dealt a pretty good amount of damage. We always got a bonus action to help us out too, because hold person is really good. So then I can use that on a target like this that has a bunch of extra health. Now I'm going to get a free critical hit off on them, so I'm going to run up over here, delete the opportunity attack, and then use our action surge to get an attack back. So with this, I'm just going to go with a main hand attack. It's going to be an automatic critical. Actually, I'll do a Booming Blade. It'll be an automatic critical hit for a ton of extra damage there. Was enough to finish them off. So we'll do another one just to hopefully, yeah, there we go. We got him now. And for this final attack, I'm just going to use Arrow Many Targets. We'll try to bounce this around to a couple extra people, applying our debuffs. Sometimes you get lucky with your positioning, and I got a lightning bolt attack here from our Marka Heshker. I'm sorry, Shadowheart, we need to hit those. Oh, I missed one of them. And it didn't actually take this target out, unfortunately. So using our mini targets, we're at close range disadvantage. That's fine. Miss, of course. I just want to get this target out of here so I don't eat an opportunity attack. So we'll try that again, and that was enough to spread around our radiating orbs on multiple targets there, which is great. So I guess we'll follow up then with a booming blade to take out this target here. Don't really have much spell casting on this build. It's mainly meant to be like a melee attacker first and foremost. And then we have our offhand attack here. It's not going to do enough damage to take out this target, so I'm going to use a hold person on this one just to reduce the amount of actions that we have against our team. And we got shield here to keep us safe too, so that's another nice thing, is we're actually pretty tanky. Oh, mega slap. I have a difficulty mod, so they're cooking us. So we may as well kick off our first start of the turn here with an attack on this hold person here, because that's sometimes enough to take them out. Did not get the pick, but one of the most beautiful things about hold person is also arrow of many targets will then critically hit off every single target that it hits. So this is nice. If you have someone that's stuck in there, that's great. I don't know why they flop down on the ground like that, but this gives us automatic critical hits, so pretty useful. Even better if I use the Titan string bow. I just want to use this one for the thematic purposes of it. But knocking a bunch of them prone with reverberation, so that's really good. That's one of the most beautiful things about reverberation, is you can be really good at debuffing the enemy. Not a very good hit chance. I'm still going to attack this target here and hope that that spreads around. That was enough to randomly proc another damage rider off on them and take them out. We still have another attack here, which is perfect, because then I can go up in booming blade and hopefully take this target out with advantage. So there we go. That was actually much better than expected. A lot of difficulty mods, but still, the Lightning Eldritch Knight wins. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below as well. If you don't want to use the staff, I'm just going to mention now, you can use a shield as well if you prefer. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and have a great day.